Hey everybody, hope you're doing well. Welcome to the stream. I'm going to be working on my cover for the Blackbirds RPG book. I'm going to be painting out and drawing the army below. I've already started, but yeah, I'm going to just work them all up and see how it all comes together. Feel good about it so far. You know, it's detailed and whatnot, but once all of the values are in there, it's gonna look cool. My plan is to get. I've already kind of drawn in a bunch of the characters, and then the idea is basically just paint all these guys in, and then after this, whatever's in between, like all the empty spots where there's no army, I'll just draw in like loosely using values like those characters so that it fills the space without feeling like I just kind of bullshit a bunch of stuff and it doesn't really work. But yeah, that's the plan. So I'm just gonna work on this little dude down here. As always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to leave them in the chat. But yeah, I'm gonna get to working on this. Yeah, I'm recovering pretty good. It's funny, I had surgery a little over a week ago now. And I thought the hardest part would kind of be like not messing around with like the affected area, like around my hernia spots that are now all fixed up. I was like, oh, that's gonna be the thing, you know, and that's fine, like I can deal with it. But like I thought immediately after surgery that would be the thing I watch out for, right? It's funny that now that I'm starting to like recover, I like, now that I feel good, that's the part where I have to be concerned because I can't be like messing around. Like, because I almost feel like normal now, so I have to control myself and be like, yeah, but you're still recovering, so don't do anything. I still can't lift over 10 pounds without potentially undoing all the work that the surgeon did, so I gotta be careful. So I've been taking it easy as much as I can, you know. But is what it is. Yeah, I'm doing well. It's nothing crazy, you know. I got surgery, but it's not like, you know, whatever. It's not a big deal. They just cut me open and move my guts around. No, it really wasn't a big deal. It was fine. Everything went well. Can't complain. I'm feeling really happy about my current process. I'm like flying through work nowadays. Like it's pretty great. I can't wait for you all to see the next Diablo 4 season art that I did. I feel really good about it. I still gotta finish a little bit on it, but it's pretty much done. I feel like I mean, honestly, you know, you're gonna hear me talking about this shit for a while, but it's incredibly shocking how much my prescription to fucking Adderall helped me calm my mind. I feel just infinitely better, and you know, it's really at least for me, it's like a lifesaver. It's so great. So I'm very pleased with how everything's happening now. I'm happy to have my brain work the way I always wished it did. And yeah, I'm thinking normally. feel like a human being. It's pretty great. So I've been making tons of forward progress in my art, and just looking at these, like I'm doing, a few of these an hour, like these kind of characters and stuff. And this is like a super detailed composition, so that's a lot of, even though that's like just a couple characters, it's still like a lot of stuff. So I'm like fairly, I don't know, I feel like a competent painter all of a sudden. It's pretty cool. It's amazing. And I really like the way all these dudes look on the bottom. I wish that I had this same process ready to go when I started this composition. I did not. So I feel like these guys on the bottom are like, even though they're these tiny little figures, they're a much better representation of like where I'm at right now. What's this for? This is for Blackbird's RPG. It's just like a book that is an additional resource to anybody who plays the game. Whoops. Blackbirds. It's just like a tabletop RPG. I've done all their big covers. I really like doing it because I get a ton of freedom for what I'm doing on them. So I get to basically make the characters as cool as I want, which is fun. So I get to design a lot of the characters that, I'm being a little flippant there. I'm more or less like just coming up with stuff on the spot. Like I'm not, that's not to say that I'm not thinking about it, but I'm not like sketching all these characters out before I put them on here. It doesn't mean that I'm not considerate. Recommend any habits for painting more loosely? Oh, I don't know. I don't feel like I'm a super loose painter. I can tell you what I've been doing lately is I've just been using larger brushes to help limit myself from going into too much detail too early on. Yeah, Cindy, I would say just do what gets you excited in the moment. Don't fall on like bad habits necessarily, where you're like avoiding difficult things. But um, like for me, if I get annoyed with something, I'm just like, oh, I'm so bored of painting a certain way. I can always switch over and just be like, I'm just gonna start doing all my stuff, and like, in the beginning I'll start it all in like clip and just draw in there versus like doing it in Krita first or whatever, just so that I'm staying invested. It like to me it's less about, right now at least to me, it's less about like the tool and more about just my excitement. If my excitement is high, then the artwork's going to come out better. Will I ever do a Dragon Quest homage piece? Closest I got were those Pokemon ones that I did that were like Pokemon crossed with Dragon Quest. I'm more or less gonna try and do like original stuff for a while because I'm feeling pretty confident in my approach now, and I'll do some stuff to put together like an art book or something like that. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Will the portfolio reviews return? Um, I don't know. I don't know when that stuff would come back. I'm kind of in like this path right now, just in the past few weeks of I'm gonna come hard at the Patreon, and I'm just trying to, now that I feel like I'm on the right track with my artwork, I'm basically just trying to rediscover myself as like the artist I actually want to become. So there's going to be a lot more of just me doing maybe like a continuation of like my dungeon series I was doing, like finish that out, do like a handful of pieces for that, and then just put together like a little book, and then just keep doing little projects like that over and over again. Yeah, the dragon at the top is certainly inspired by Metroid. I'm a big 90s, 80s, 90s alien video game monster guy. If I can fit in like some Metroid reference or something like that to like that type of aesthetic, it's going in. I'm glad that you caught that, because that's exactly what I was going for. Thanks. Yeah, I want to do an art. Well, you know what I'm planning on, kind of in some roundabout way. What I want to do is like a homage to the old, like 70s art books that I used to collect. I have a bunch of them here at home, but essentially what they are is like just like visions into like another world, basically, with some write-ups and stuff. And I like writing, you know, for Steve and all that. So I want to do just a version of that, like just something that doesn't take itself super seriously, and is just like a cool little like vision of a place where if I ever wanted to do more than that, I could. But it could just be a little art book. And have them be like small paperback type things, like very pulpy. I'm not like a big, grand, beautiful art book guy. I don't care. I like books a lot, but I just want to do quick stuff. I think it'd be fun to just knock out a bunch and then maybe put together like a big collection in a nice book like later, after I've done like a bunch of them. But that's kind of my plan, is to just take whatever paintings I do and then collect them all in something like that under like a theme, and then release that, and then just keep doing those over and over, or at least as long as it's fun. Doesn't mean I would do like a bunch of them, but if it continued to be fun, I might. But my speed is so fast right now that I feel pretty confident in that idea. So that's why I don't mind saying it. And I have already done a bunch. Yeah, exactly. Quickset. Basically that. Hello. Scared the shit out of me. My dog just bust through the door. You ever see Angel Cop? If so, what did you think? I don't know. I think I've seen it. Is it one of those like late 80s, early 90s porny anime movies or series? Late 80s cyberpunk anime? Hmm. I know what it is. I just can't picture it off the top of my head. I know the name. The fun bit was rendering these little dudes out, right? This is enjoyable. And then we'll go back and we'll do potentially the less enjoyable part after this. I've been on a revisit all the music I listened to when I was 13 kick. Try and rediscover that love I had. I'm finally making character designs that I actually like, but I feel like I'm so slow, I'm still unemployable. Would a good fix be to time myself and let it go whether or not it's finished? No, I would say it's not. It's less about. It's less about just throwing in the towel like as soon as it's done, as soon as the time's up. And it's more about making yourself work within the constraint. It's like, yes, do a timer thing, but more or less so that you're putting yourself in a position where you're thinking quickly on your feet through a process. Because I would say more often than not, my speed increases when it's an absolute necessity that my speed increases. It's like if I'm working on something and then I'm like, God, I gotta find a faster way to do this or I'm not gonna be able to finish all this shit. Then I start getting quicker and quicker and quicker. At least that's one way I've noticed. At least for me, that's how it works. I think doing that in general is probably a good idea. Just to help yourself speed up. But more or less, you're like giving yourself deadlines, and you're not trying to not get to your finished level that you were already at. It's more like you're you're trying to get to that finish level, but at the fastest speed possible. And not that like I'm doing that right now. Like when I'm working on stuff like this, I'm not thinking be as fast as humanly possible. I've just gotten faster over and over and over because I just do it a million times, and I've just grown in speed and just yeah, like now I just am faster. But it came from kind of needing to be faster. And then, it just became normal that I was that fast. And I was like, "Oh, okay, that's just my new normal." It's hard to make yourself grow the way a job would help you grow on your own. It really is hard to do that to yourself. Almost all of my major leaps and bounds forward came because of an expectation from some larger group that needed something. Like, then I rise to the occasion. It's very hard for me to do that on my own, like just of my own free will, push myself to this new place that I didn't know I was capable of. I always end up finding that through a job. So I would say, like, get your work as good as you can, and then honestly tell them that you can do it. If they say, like, oh, if somebody is looking to hire you and they do like your work and they like it like you like it, but like, I probably won't be able to deliver, I would gamble on just saying I can do it. If you feel like you're good enough and that you can, then go for that. Just be confident and just make yourself rise to the occasion. Just jump in the fire. I've done that so many times. Just said, yes, I could do that. And it just made me faster and faster every time I did that. Like, I told you guys about when I worked in like movie marketing a long time ago. And when I was working on those projects, we're talking like, I don't know, back in 2011, 2012, I'd be working on those jobs, and my initial thing was like, they were like, can you do this in like tonight? And I just said, yeah. That wasn't the truth. That wasn't like something that I knew I could do. I just said I could do it. And I was like, well, let's see what happens. They're getting something. I don't know what they're going to get, but I'm going to give it everything I got, and hopefully it works. And then that ended up working. Just said I could do it. Yeah, I did the Logan IMAX movie poster. So it was just the IMAX poster. So it was the one they used in all those theaters. And then I did some promotional work for Terminator. What was that Terminator? The latest one with the girl that wasn't very good. I can't remember. But I did that. Sort of quick set. I just sort of found a way to an end, you know? Like I had an idea that I could do it, and then I just told them I could do it. I was being pretty confident saying that. And then I just delivered, and I was just like, all right. I didn't fumble that one. On to the next one. Let's see what happens next. And I think the thing that I've found more often than not in everything, like not just art, is that at least for me, like I'm like unwilling to let people down when it comes to work. I'm really affected by that. Like I can't under deliver, so I'll go all out on something like every time, and all of my fears of not being able to deliver end up making me like an invaluable asset to them later. Like I find out that like, oh, I was the best at this thing, you know, like, and they're like, oh, we love working with you and all this stuff. Like I always get such positive reactions. I'm very sensitive to like letting people down that way, but yeah, all of my like insecurities about being able to do it, they just, you know, they're not warranted. That's kind of just all I figure out every time. Is it because I feel that way, because I'm sensitive to that? That's kind of my ace. That's like the thing that puts me a cut above other people and makes me better and able to deliver. So even like when I'm, you know, like who, it's more or less like, yeah, they only gave me a few hours or a day or something to do it, but anybody else that they gave that same time frame to do it, and they would have done, you know, potentially less. You know, I'm not saying I'm the best in the world, but out of the like group of people that they would hire, I potentially care way more. At least that's how clients make me feel. All right, muting my screen, so I'm gonna black it out for a second, and then I'll turn it back on once I'm over in Krita. So I'm still here. I just always forget to clear Krita's recent images thing. And if you saw that screen, then you'd see everything I'm working on for clients. And you can't see that. You can't. Yeah, that is my secret. I'm insecure. It's not even that. It's just that I'm empathetic to their needs. I just don't want to let them down. I don't want them to feel like they hired the wrong person. So this is a little different than the other ones you saw. So I'm going to basically talk about it loosely. This dude here, this drawing, whatever. It's just like a super loose, crappy placeholder drawing that I did in Clip Studio. And then I go over this in Krita, like I paint on, like directly on the layer that it's on and render it up. That's really it. That's what I'm going to do right now. I'm gonna mute my microphone and put my headphone on, and then you can just watch me work really fast for a little while. I'll show you how this comes together. It's pretty cool. Hello. Let me see. At what point do you feel satisfied with your composition? I'm not good at it and just want to draw, but I keep changing things up. I focus on the composition first. I focus on very simple, clean shape design. If you look at my composition over here for like the overall cover, it's nothing that crazy. It's like a big diamond as far as the actual shape goes. I make sure that, you know, like there's obvious things going on with this, like the dragon's wings and the arms, they're kind of looping around, and then the little demon puppet guy at the bottom, his arms are going up to like mimic like a circle that's sort of enveloping everybody, with the prince and the fiery castle and the center point of the circle. And then I kind of use a series of arrows to point around to where I want whoever's looking at this cover, like wherever I want them to look, I point at stuff. But if you think of things in terms of like clean and clear shapes, and then you just kind of, you know, you're gonna have to look at the basics of what works in a composition. Once you have all that stuff down, then you can start kind of playing with how that all works within a larger cover or whatever you're doing. What is this? This isn't what I want. Okay. Drawing in this economy? I mean, what other choice do I have? I don't want to get worse. Do you have any any tips for drawing on the tablet? Man, sorry to laugh. I'm laughing because it's a funny thing to be like, I understand exactly what you're talking about. I remember that feeling. You just got to do it a bunch. Do it a bunch until you are normal with it. But you have to do it a lot. It's not just going to come to you naturally. It's something that you're going to probably have to force yourself to do. Just because something's uncomfortable like that, you know, it doesn't mean that you can't figure it out. Okay, back to my hole. Hello. When we do a watch together of the Flintstones? I'm doing that at the waterfront next summer. The big crew in Martha's Vineyard. Very expensive tickets. Let's see. The chrome brushes layer unforgivingly. Am I thinking about using them in their purpose the wrong way? Potentially. I mean, I think my modification on this one is almost zero as far as this version of the Chrome Large. I think this is just the original Chrome Large brush, and then the only thing I'm doing is slightly adjusting the minimum tip size so that I have like a varying degree of tip size, because like I was doing really small, but the problem with that for me is that it ends up looking too digital, and if I make the tip size like 5, then I end up having this nice kind of painterly look, which I like. So I'm kind of like jumping between a few different sizes. The lowest I've gone for like detailing out some of these little guys is like a 2. In terms of layering, I honestly just think it's just practice with them. It's just a different way of thinking about working, I guess. It's not exactly the most intuitive thing at first. It took me a while to get used to it, but my speed increase is dumb. It's so good, so I think it's worth it. I mean, it's also very effective for my own personal style of rendering and drawing. So I don't know if it's for everybody, but it's definitely for me. You know, it's not like everybody does this and this is the only way to get finished results. There's tons of people doing different things. I just personally think this speed of this and how, you know, it brings me to the level of finish that I get at the end. I feel pretty confident that this is the right move for me personally. Stick with this kind of approach. And it's so much fun. I just like the feeling of it. It's very buttery. But yeah, I would say just practice. Like some stuff is kind of out of your control, I guess, when it comes to that. Like, especially when it's like the tool itself that you're using. Like, I'm not sure what you're using, but I remember when I like switched over to like a different tablet at one point when I was doing this stuff. I went, oh shit, that was the problem. Fuck. That's always the worst feeling when it's like a hardware thing. Like, oh, I can't do what that person's doing because my fucking thing doesn't work the same. Because like if I switch over to using like a less good tablet than the one I have in terms of the pressure and everything, it's like night and day. And I just go, oh shit, I don't like this. How am I feeling today? Good. I'm A little over a week out from my surgery that I had had. So I'm on the other side. Not hurting anymore. Feel good. What song is this? This is All in Flames. This one's Economic off of Reroute to Remain. What surgery did I have? I had hernia, bilateral, bilingual. I just had 3 hernias on either side, and I had to get them. I had to get a mesh put in place. By who? I already said In Flames. Alright. I'm continuing the stream a little bit later than normal because my wife is talking to her friend on the phone. So even if I stopped working right now, I'd just be hanging out. It's fine. Yeah, I'm okay now. Alright. And so then the last bit of value, and then the underlying value. That's all I got. Do I have kids? I have 2 kids. They're both sleeping. Do you think it would likely be a regret for people to miss out on having kids who aren't sure? I mean, I'm going to be biased because I have kids and I know what it's like to, like I just spent time like having long talks with both of my boys before bed. And I think it's like the wildest part of life by like a large margin. I think that there isn't much in this world that compares to it. The thing that I always thought about with that was like my biggest. I know that like my regret for that would come later. I'd be an old man. My friends would be dead, or just old, and my brother and my sister are both older than me. And then what's gonna happen? I'm just gonna die. Nobody's gonna be around to see me. It's like I can just see it so clearly. So I'm happy I got kids for that reason, to just have something, going on in our lives as you get older. Like I don't want to be, this is not a dig at anybody, but I don't want to be like kidless older dude that's trying to still find a way to be cool in society. Like I don't want to do that. That sounds like its own kind of hell. I don't want to do that. I think it's nice to shoulder more responsibility over and over in life. I feel like that's, at least for me, that's like the most fun part. Doing difficult things. I think that keeps you young. Or at least, in your mind. Because you definitely get aged having kids. Do you still stream with Dan sometimes? Kind of. I hop onto Dan's stream every once in a while, but it's hard to catch those because Dan streams pretty much for like 6 hours straight every day. So he's just on there by himself, and if I catch him on there and I'm ready to, talk or something, I'll just give him a call and then we'll talk. Okay, so now underneath all of this, let me select this. Underneath all of these layers, I'm going to do my midtones, or not really my midtones, my like lightest tone. So I'm just trying to get the whole value range in here. And I like the continual refinement of the drawing over and over again. Every day, you had no idea he streamed at all? Well, yeah, if you search, is it Dan Warren Art? I think it's Dan Warren Art. It's pretty easy to find him. He has streams he literally does every day for like hours. When do you think it's a good time to apply for industry? Should speed be a big consideration? I don't know. It's up to what you think you're capable of, I guess. Like if you feel like you're ready. I mean, it's hard for me to give advice on something like that. I just wanted to be in the industry, period. So like I just did stuff. I honestly wasn't super concerned about anything with my speed. I was worried that, like, in certain aspects I wouldn't be as good as other people, but I just went in knowing that I could adapt. It's like, I've already gotten this far, I'll figure it out. I'm gonna make it work. And I know that sounds like I'm just saying be confident, and I kind of am. I honestly think that's it. It's not like you can, like, you're never going to be 100% prepared to jump into industry, whatever, work, and just start making it. I would just apply and apply and apply and apply, and then if you don't get it, just keep on working constantly on your own, and then keep on applying and just do that over and over again. And then when the Saudis finally buy all of video games, then you will be fully replaced by AI. And there'll be no hope for any more artists. Those dorks. I got approached by one of those groups. Um, I don't know if they were Saudi people. They were like, it was some prince in Dubai invited me to go there for whatever new company they were making. And I was just like, no, I'm not doing that. But mostly because when they were talking about like what's important in creative stuff, I think we were talking about comics or movies or something like that. They're like, it's really all about the action scenes, just the action scenes. Like, as long as the action scenes are fucking awesome, that's like all that matters. And I heard that and I went, oh, this is one of the dumbest conversations I've had in a minute. Oh. Anybody who thinks like that isn't going to make anything good. Nothing good's going to come of this. You really think that's their goal? I don't think that's their goal. I think that that's what they're going to push. I think that they're it's just like, it's just disconnected enough. I don't know how to describe that attitude. What's it like? It's the same kind of dumb as like my brother going to a country over there and then being like, oh, you're Rambo, just because he's, the way he looks. I don't know why. That's my equivalent thing. Or it's like how in like a lot of Chinese movies, the peak comedy is like slapstick, and it hasn't really moved too much beyond that. It's just a cultural thing. It's like being tough and cool and awesome. Like, they have all of the DNA of somebody that would just love, like I was saying, like actions and fight scenes and that sort of thing. It's like, that's like the AI tech bro. They don't get that that's not what makes the thing good. You know what I mean? And I'm not even saying like people from Dubai. I'm saying dude bros with a bunch of money. They don't really know, like, it's hard to describe. It's like thinking that somebody with a bunch of money would have good taste in construction or something like that, just because they have the means. It's like, they don't. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know. They don't really know. I'm not saying all of them are like that, but that's the vibe I get. And then they build like, you know, McMansions with like the ugliest layouts you've ever seen. And you're like, oh, right. Okay. You know what I mean? It's the same sort of deal. Like, look at NFL player houses. You'll get exactly what I'm talking about. Unless they hire like awesome designers or something. Like, it doesn't mean that like they're dumb. It just means that they're just going to be like, here's this flashy thing. Use the flashy free thing. What do you mean you're not going to use the flashy free thing? It does it just as good as the other stuff. Look, I made a Pixar movie in 10 minutes. All those stupid posts. Okay. So, what I would do next, I'm not going to get into it too much, but I'll show you. So, all I do is now that I have this all set up, I just get like I change the line width and the brush size to 2 pixels just to get it a little bit more detail oriented. And now I'm just going to go around eyedrop values that are there and paint with them. And I just kind of paint the whole thing together, and I just keep eyedropping and selecting and blending and drawing. Oh yeah, I definitely don't have a doom and gloom outlook on the AI situation. Not at all. I think anybody that does anything with like expediency and without thought is bound to create stuff that has less value. And I think that AI just encourages laziness, and you need limitations and struggle to get anything good. You need limitations. You take away limitations, you're going to get more and more boring. That's just the way it works. People don't come up with really cool things out of necessity, like in a spot where they don't need to. It's that thing I've said before. It's literally that where the wild things are was supposed to be where the wild horses are, but he couldn't draw horses. So he was like, well, fuck, what am I going to do? And then just came up with this other thing, since he could just draw these monsters. You know? It's like, but could you imagine if he had all the AI tools he has now? He could just make it do horses, and then the book wouldn't have done anything. It would have been way better. Yeah, people are gonna come back to, you know, when the world gets oversaturated with shit, people just go, ugh, I want something else. Like, I just feel like traditional handmade human shit will have value. I also feel like AI in the video game space, especially for like the older dudes, the older generation's been working in games for a while. It's like this bright, shiny thing for them. And they're like, holy shit, now I don't have to do all this work anymore. And it feels like magic to them, you know? Like this is this perfect solution. I could use it for everything. I think that's just gonna be generational to some extent. I think that AI will always be around because, there's a number of uses for it. It's like it's not like it's going to be entirely evil. People are going to use it. But I think it's going to be less of a everything is AI use case like it is now, because it's like similar to the idea that like everybody has a better camera than I had when I was a little kid and I wanted to make movies. And sure, there's probably a lot of people making like a lot of cool home movies with their iPhones and shit. But I think because it's there, people don't use it for that. I think it needs to be difficult. I think there needs to be limitations. I think stuff needs to be just out of reach. I think that there should be like some journey to that end before you get it. The same way that I have this thing that I've talked about a bunch, and you probably heard me talk about it, where like if you buy, at least for me, if I go and I buy all the books, all the tools, all the most professional equipment for everything, a part of my brain feels like I already did it, the thing, whatever it was, so I don't use the things, as opposed to just using what I have in the moment, getting as good as I possibly can off of what's in front of me, and then when I'm ready for that stuff, get it. But I think because AI and like I was saying about the phones and all that shit, it's like because it's right in front of you, it's almost like, why? I feel like it disincentivizes making things in a weird way. I don't know exactly how to explain that, but I think I'm right. I think the longing to be able to make something when you feel like it's super out of reach lets you create like a seed for all the weird ideas you have. It lets your imagination go wild. And then by the time you do have the ability to make the things, you're ready. Does that make sense? I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna call it. Thanks everybody for hanging out. I appreciate you all. I'm gonna hop off and I'll be streaming again at some point because I don't have too much other stuff to do besides this and my work on Diablo. But yeah, I appreciate you all and I'll talk to you soon. Later everybody.